Hey everyone, it's your favorite tire lube, shaver of pubes, Yammie Noob. If you're one of the many subs or viewers that I have that don't have a motorcycle, well today you are in luck. I'm gonna go over a step-by-step method that you can use to ensure you have everything you need before you get that first bike. Before we even begin the list, the first thing you should do is sign up for the MSF course. Hear me out. A lot of places that offer basic rider courses have seasons and therefore do not offer year-round availability. As you're thinking about getting a motorcycle, at least sign up for the course so when it's time to go in 4 or 6 weeks, you'll have a guaranteed spot. While you're waiting on taking your course, you can research riding gear or different motorcycles, or keep watching my videos and live vicariously through me. It's a pretty good option. Now, the next things are going to be what you should do, in my opinion, of course, before you get the motorcycle. Number 1, buy a helmet and have minimal gear. Since you've signed up for the course, it's time to buy a helmet. Don't freak out over the 4-figure price tag on some of the cool looking Arise or Shoeis. Just buy yourself something that is DOT, ECE, and or SNELL certified if you're really feeling it. If it is sold in the US, the DOT approval is a requirement. The other two are just a bonus. I personally would want a helmet that has at least DOT and ECE approval. I would feel comfortable putting that on my head. As your riding skills progress, so will your need for a better helmet and your want for comfort. What you use to complete the MSF course and your first couple of seasons doesn't have to be your forever helmet. I suggest not using helmets offered at the course. Buy your own. Make sure your helmet fits properly and it is a minimum a 3/4 design. Papa Yams always recommends a full face helmet, but that's just me. Also, no one's gonna judge you if you walk around your house wearing your helmet before you get your bike. Gotta feel it, bro. You also need what we call minimal gear, which doesn't equate to the safest riding gear, but it allows you to stay in the course. You need over-the-ankle boots, gloves, and a long-sleeve shirt are all that's required when you ride in the course. Be prepared and don't show up on day 1 wearing your slip-on Vans, even if day 2 is when you start riding. Show your instructors you're prepared and dress for riding, even if it's the first night or day of the class. Speaking of firsts, have you heard about the firsts we're having with the beginner bike giveaway series? We have 3 new bikes we're giving away, and holy triumph, one of them is a Street Triple R. The other 2 is a KTM 390 and an XXR 700. We outdid ourselves this time at Yammie Noob, and you can outdo yourself as well by winning one of these bikes. Head over to yammienoob.co, pick a subscription tier, and get yourself entered to win one of these bikes. It will be worth it. The Triumph is the most expensive bike we've ever had in the giveaway series, and the KTM might be the most fun you could possibly have on 2 wheels on a little bike. If you're not the subscribing type of person, you can head on over to yammienoobmerch.com and pick up some sweet merchandise to support yours truly, while having every $1 equals 1 entry for the giveaway bikes. Either way, it's a win-win, so go and check that out if you are a bikeless bro. Number 2, sit on the bikes. Now is probably the most important part of your riding journey. Go to a dealership and sit on some bikes. Don't worry, they will let you. I mean, they won't let you test ride them just yet because you don't have your M endorsement, but you can sit on as many as you want. Look for the controls and most importantly, see how the bike fits. The R6 you've always dreamed about probably does not feel as comfortable in person as it looks on a computer screen. This step is really important because you may come to terms with the bikes you've always been eyeing for a couple months. Height is a factor as well. If you're under 5'8", then getting a dual sport might be a challenge. The same for shorter riders and sport bikes. They can be lower, their suspension's adjusted, but this is something you need to know before you start buying bikes. As a side note, I really don't recommend that you lower or adjust the suspension on a motorcycle. You're going to compromise its handling and it's not going to behave in the same way that you would expect a normal bike to. Comfort. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Comfort is very important. So, I have a messed up vertebrae at my T5. It's a torn ligament that prevents me from riding super sports on anything longer than an hour for a time. And you too might discover that the idea of riding a GSXR on a 30-minute commute is a bit too much for you, and you might opt for something more ergonomic like a Naked or a Standard. It's okay to realize your dream bike isn't intended for the daily commute, including downpours and stop-and-go traffic. Don't let this stop you. You can own more than one bike, each with a different purpose. Remember, the amount of bikes you need in your garage is N+1, where N is the amount currently in your garage. Discover the bikes you'd really like and then take the opportunity to sit on them and see what parts of your body they tickle and what parts they hurt. If you're older than 29, something is probably going to hurt after a while. Your trip will be a success if you can narrow down your choice to at least a style or 2 or even a specific model. This isn't to say you're going to start on a ZX-10R or a Gixxer 750, but it will show you the path you're starting on. If the cruiser life is your choice, check out the Honda Rebels. For sport bikes, well, the R3 and the Ninja 400 are always great choices. Even though the beginner bikes have a lot less forward lean angle, get on a bike that you really want and see if it's going to work for you. Number 3, take the MSF course. Now that you have a few solid ideas of what bike you might like to buy, go and take the MSF course. After your 2.5 days of riding and instruction, you'll know how to ride a motorcycle in a parking lot. And in the worst case scenario, if you happen to fail the MSF course, don't sweat it. One of the squids on my support team for content creation dropped his bike during the exam, but that didn't stop him from learning how to ride a motorcycle and buying his first bike. He now has a 1 year and over 6,000 miles of experience compared to his 2 days of experience when he originally failed the MSF course. Good job, Nick. You at least learned how to ride a motorcycle on a bike that was, or is, and will be dropped more times than a phone call on a Sprint network. This is an opportunity for you to learn how to ride in a safe environment without worrying about dropping your friend's bike. Hopefully you learned the fundamentals from the course and are now able to ride on the streets, both technically and legally. If the course had you ride a bike you didn't want to, i.e. a cruiser as opposed to a sport bike, did your mind change? You can always change the type of bike you want to buy at any time. Number 4, research motorcycles and insurance. Here's where the fun begins. When you research a bike, you're always going to see mixed reviews. Stay with the reviews that best represent how you want to ride. Don't listen to someone complaining about how slow a 650 is to a liter bike or how much better life would be on a Turbo Busa. Don't listen to that guy. Figure out the bike you're most likely going to buy and research how it's performed in the rain, on commutes, hot days, etc. Figure out the pros and cons and work from there. I know that a lot of you young squids are doing that right now because you DM me recommendations on bikes you want to buy and you're asking very specific questions about motorcycles that I've never heard about. Insurance. If you pass the MSF, then your insurance rate will likely drop because you're a safe, read somewhat new rider now. The fact about insurance is that if you finance a bike, it will be astronomical. If you own the bike, the insurance cost can be substantially lower. Don't borrow the money from a loan shark to pay for your bike, just save on your insurance and buy it outright, in my opinion. But weigh your options, save up cash if you absolutely need to. I'm not here to be your financial advisor. If the insurance for a brand new R6 is $450 per month, maybe you shouldn't finance the bike, or maybe you shouldn't get that bike at all if you can't afford it. But you should wait until you can buy it cash if you need to. But if you need to ride now, get a $300 until you have the cash for another bike. It's a lot more fun being on 2 wheels than it is not being on 2 wheels. Number 5, buy used. If you've started your quest to buy a motorcycle, well, my future squids, Papa Yams always suggests buying used for your first one. For all the learning that I hope you'll be doing, you're most likely going to drop whatever bike you purchase. Hey, it happens to all of us. I have dropped many a bike. Get a good set of frame sliders and be prepared for a few scratches and scuffs on your bike. It's no big deal. Drops aside, when you buy a used bike, you're not paying for the loss in equity. And let me tell you, bikes lose almost half of their value within the first couple of years. You're trying to get a hands on a new Ninja 400 with an MSRP of $4,999, you can pick up a used one with low miles for roughly half that. Seriously, my dudes, buy used. There's always someone that settled for a Ninja 400 but outgrew it and moved on to another bike in a short amount of time. Let them pay for the loss. Your first bike doesn't and shouldn't be your forever bike unless it was gifted or willed to you, and of course you're going to start on something else. It's okay to start smaller and increase in engine displacement and size as your skills increase. Number 6, buy more gear and tools. If you have a bike picked out and are working on getting it road ready, now is the time for more gear. Yammie, come on, not another AtGat commercial. After your opinion on riding pants, I just don't want to listen to anything you ever have to say anymore. No, squids, if all you have is the gear you wore at the MSF, then you probably need something a bit better. You should probably pick up a jacket with some padding, some proper riding gloves, and if you skimped and went with just a regular pair of pants, definitely do get yourself some riding pants. The speeds that you practice the MSF course were low compared to the high speeds of riding on the freeway and traffic. Your helmet can stay, but I would really recommend picking up a proper set of motorcycle boots as well. Since we got heckled in one of our last videos, if you want riding jeans, go ahead and buy them. There are plenty of options out there. This isn't about the specific gear that you need, but just the fact that riding on the street requires more of it than the rider course. Don't sacrifice one piece of gear for another. I stand by what I said: helmet, boots, gloves, and jacket first. A beginner rider is more than likely going to experience low speed drops, and having impact protection on lower parts of your body like your ankles and then a helmet is the most important part. But riding pants are really great. They're very slide resistant and they work really well. I wear some myself when I ride every time. Number 7, start riding. With a course under your belt, a tiny M endorsement on your license, and a few pieces of gear, you should be ready to ride now. Assuming you did find a bike to buy, now is the time to start riding. Are you ready? It's finally time. Yes, it is. As you embark on your first ride, it's okay to feel intimidated and want to go to a parking lot. That's where a lot of riders stay for the first couple of hours. Practice your low speed maneuvers, get to a point where you don't stall out too much, and remember that you have mirrors, signals, and a horn. There's a lot that the MSF course can't integrate, but by the time you learn your bike, how to operate all your controls, you should be good. You probably didn't buy an S1000RR, so that means you need to use your turn signals. Remember to ride at your own pace. Your riding buddies should respect your need to gain experience in parking lots before they start cracking mega dank nooners on the local strip of your town. So, it begs the question, did Yammie Noob follow all of his advice whenever he bought his own first bike? No, I didn't at all. So when I first started riding, I picked up a brand spanking new Yamaha R3 from the dealership that I financed. I definitely didn't buy all of my gear when I started. I had a helmet, a jacket, some gloves, and boots. I didn't have riding pants when I started, but I got riding pants very soon afterwards. Yeah, I didn't follow all of my own advice that I put on here, so that goes to show you. Sometimes you can do things wrong and it all works out. So that's going to be it for today's video. Hopefully I have some of you ready for spring weather. When everyone rushes out on their bikes, if you haven't bought your bike yet, it's okay. Now is the worst time to buy. Did you pass the MSF course on your first try? What is your rider backstory? I'd love to hear about it. Thanks again for watching. Tune in next time. See you later. Fact: were you going to throw away that old jar of honey? Don't. Honey has an infinite shelf life and never expires. The unique mix of chemicals and honey attribute to its perfectly balanced ability to be stored forever. Goodbye.